Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sanely Spoken. In this episode today, we have Miss Priya Arora here with us, the writer of the book "Life Is a Battlefield." It's another book discussion. So uh, it's a take on Bhagavad Gita, insights from the eternal wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. It's a really good read. So, firstly, congratulations, ma'am, on the new book. This is your
Thank
second
you.
book. The
Thank
first book
you.
was about Lord Sri Ram, and now it's Gita. So yeah, again, congratulations. It's a good read. It's an easy read, I would say, because I finished it yesterday. So it was like a lot of very heavy concepts that are there in Gita that are not very, I won't say possible, but easy, not very easier to understand for common folks who don't think much about Vedant or Gita or spirituality. You have taken a very easier language to make them understand of what the Gita stands for. So, thank you for that. And firstly, I want to ask, ma'am, is about first book. Your first book was about Lord Sri Ram,
Yes.
and you have taken stories from his life, from Ramayana, and given us like what it, the significance that it holds today.
Mm-hmm.
While people of my age, people of
Mm-hmm.
younger generation who are like still a lot more like not that much into spirituality or spiritual thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
reading Gita or reading scriptures in general,
Mm-hmm.
they have this take in mind that Gita was written thousands of years ago. If I would say that at least it was 5,000 years ago.
5,000, yes.
This is not I think it was still older, but let's just say 5,000 years older. So what exactly the relevance of Gita is today, as to why a person living in the 2025 take values from a textbook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being very neutral
No,
here
no,
to
it's good,
make
yeah.
it more understandable. So what values can they take from Gita that it's still relevant today? A book, it's not a book, a conversation that actually happened thousands of years ago between Bhagwan Krishna and Arjuna, and the values, that the things that he said in in that conversation, what is the relevance today?
Mm-hmm. So this is a question that I get asked a lot, and
Yeah.
it's a very valid question because obviously why would you be interested today in what Sri Krishna told Arjun on the battlefield? First of all, we're not on a battlefield,
Yeah.
but actually it's very relevant because what the Bhagavad Gita is about how to deal with your mind, and human beings have not changed. Situations may have changed, ways of living may have changed, but our human nature is still the same. And our human troubles are also still the same. So, what the Bhagavad Gita does is it teaches you how to manage your mind so that life is not overwhelming. That is the whole message of the Bhagavad Gita. We
Yeah.
think of it as a religious book. And that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah. Exactly.
a lot of people say, "Oh, don't read Bhagavad Gita now, you're too young." When you retire,
Yeah.
then you read Bhagavad Gita. Go to Bhagavad Gita class in your retirement when you have nothing else to do. That is actually a very unfortunate thing because the Bhagavad Gita is, I call it a manual for life. It's a user manual. So, we are not born with a user manual. When you buy a product, you get a user manual and you understand how to use that product so that you get
Yeah.
efficiency out of the product. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we don't come with a user manual. But what Sri Krishna has done, he's given us a user manual in the Bhagavad
Yeah.
Gita. Now, that user manual should be opened when you're young. See, I came to the Bhagavad Gita in middle age, after 50. Now, that is good that I came at some point because when I was young, I was not interested. I had no interest in any of this. I was not a spiritual or religious person in the least. But when I came to it opened my eyes and it made me realize that this is a wisdom that we have in our land and we don't know it. It's just so sad. It's like, this is an amazing wisdom. And why is it amazing? It's because once you absorb it, you look at life differently. So, whatever problems you have, and everyone has problems, no
Yeah.
one can escape that. That is different for different people. In my life, it was the challenge of parenting a child with special needs, which was very
Okay.
traumatic, very stressful. And then my struggle with cancer, which is a health related thing. So these two are very difficult situations that come in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with this help of the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, I was able to go through all this without stress. So actually, I'm very grateful that I came to this knowledge before I got my cancer. It
Hmm.
came to me, of course, after I had my son and went through a lot of
Hmm.
difficulties. And actually, that's what pushed me there in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I found such peace. And not that anything changed, but my ability to handle the problems just became so much better. So, if in life you are going to face problems and you know you're going to face problems,
Yeah.
but you have the mental fortitude and the mental ability to handle those problems without getting stressed out, can you imagine how peaceful life will be? Whatever the problem may be, it could be
Hmm.
financial problem, it could be relationship problems, and we do go through this in life, all these
Yeah.
problems, and
Hmm.
it could be health problems. There are so many things we face in life, but it's the way you face it that makes the difference. So people say you open the Bhagavad Gita at any page and you'll find the answer. You
Yeah.
might have heard that.
Exactly.
So
I've heard
it's,
that, but I've not tested it. But yeah, I've
ah,
heard it a
no,
lot
you
of
won't find
times.
the answer like that. I'm just
Okay.
saying
Okay.
that it's
Hmm.
like, I'm give my example. I had cancer, so and it's not like I'm
Hmm.
opening the Bhagavad Gita find the cure to my cancer. It's not
Yeah.
going to
Of
happen
course
that
not.
way.
Yeah. No. No. No.
I still
Hmm.
have to go to the doctor and all that for
Yeah.
to get cured.
Exactly.
But what the Bhagavad Gita does is it gives you the mindset to be
Hmm.
able to handle that problem without
Hmm.
getting depressed. So it
Hmm.
avoids the depression. So it takes the way best way is, it's like if you have a headache and you take a
Hmm.
paracetamol, it dulls the headache. You
Yeah.
don't feel the headache. So same way, Bhagavad Gita is actually like a paracetamol. So you imbibe this knowledge, and with it, you will find the strength to deal with these problems without getting under them, which is what we do in life.
Hmm.
When something comes, we get overwhelmed, and that was Arjuna's problem. Arjun,
Yeah.
in the battlefield, that's what his whole problem was. He has a panic attack, and the whole Bhagavad Gita is about
Yeah.
pulling him out of that panic attack.
Yeah. In today's term, we can say it was actually a panic attack
Yes.
because yeah, if we think it right now, uh, as you was answering that, I was still thinking about what you were saying, and
Hmm.
it came to my mind that even though so many years have passed,
Sorry.
that's okay, ma'am, that's
I
okay.
don't know how this alarm is. Sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Uh,
Yeah. So I was saying that even like I was thinking about what you were saying, and even though thousands of years have passed since the Gita exists, and one of the things that remains is that human beings are still the same.
the same.
A lot of things
Nothing
have
has
changed.
changed.
Yeah, like okay, the lifestyle has changed, technology is
Mhm.
there, a lot of things are there, but the human
Nature.
suffering, human
Nature
nature,
hasn't changed.
yeah, humans, yeah, that hasn't changed. We still feel all those, we still feel anxiety, we still feel depressed, we still have
Yes.
anger. So in that case, the Gita holds relevance today. Yeah. uh, okay, so one of the things I always ask my guests whenever we are having a book discussion is there firstly their reasons for writing the book, and secondly the research process of how they went about researching for the book. You have not just pointed out the Gita, you have also taken examples from a lot of Upanishads,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
you have taken verses and explained them, and you have
Mm-hmm.
given scenarios to explain, stories to explain a lot of things
Right.
that the Gita holds for. So let's talk, so tell me something about the research process for this book, how you went about reading the Gita, and also I read that you also learned Sanskrit
Yes.
to
Yes.
better grasp the concepts. So
Yes.
yeah, so let's what was
So
that like?
let me start with how I came to this. So
Yeah.
I came to this just by chance. A friend of mine invited me for a lecture on the Bhagavad Gita, and I
Hmm.
just went. And this was in,
Okay.
I think, 2012, 2013. I don't remember the exact time,
Mm-hmm.
but she took me for this lecture. It was at Berkeley and
Okay.
at the Ramakrishna Mission. So I listened to this lecture, and that was my first introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is nothing that like what I thought the Gita was. I thought the
Hmm.
Gita was some religious book, but this
Yeah.
is like philosophy. This is amazing. So I ordered books, from Amazon immediately, translations,
Yeah.
and I
Hmm.
started reading these translations in English.
Hmm.
And to be honest, I read them, but they did not change me in any way. Then I started listening to lectures because by
Hmm.
then YouTube had started.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Swamis and Swaminis
Hmm.
have very kindly put all their lectures online. So you don't have to actually go anywhere. Sitting, I live in San Francisco, and sitting there,
Hmm.
I had access to all this knowledge from all over the world, which was amazing.
Hmm.
And then I realized that just doing this in translation is not good because a lot is lost in translation. You cannot get the
Yeah.
real flavor. So then I
Exactly.
enrolled myself in Samskrita Bharati, which is an
Hmm.
online school for Sanskrit, and I started learning Sanskrit. And that really jump started um, my interest, my learning, my love, my passion for the subject. Because once you know and I'll really say this, I two things I feel. One is we should all know the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita in our youth, and we should all know Sanskrit in our youth. It is
Yeah.
really sad that we as Indians don't
Hmm.
know this language. And I realize this now. You know why? It is the most perfect language in the world. I'm a student of English literature. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you, English does not come close to Sanskrit. There is no comparison. I mean, Sanskrit is like it's our grandmother. It's the
Hmm.
mother of our mother tongues in
Yeah.
India, and not only in India, even
Hmm.
English. So many English words, so much of English is from Sanskrit we don't realize. Even something simple in the this Bhagavad Gita, they talk about eyebrow. Bruhu is
Yeah.
the Sanskrit word bruhu for eyebrow,
Bruhu.
and
Yeah.
from bruhu you get brow, English brow.
The English word. Yeah.
Yeah, so many words. Then even the word like tumulo is
Hmm.
Sanskrit. In English, it's tumult. The same word,
Okay. Hmm.
So divine comes from divya.
Hmm.
So there is like millions of words that come from Sanskrit into other languages.
Yeah.
And so it's, I'll go on about Sanskrit. We should get back to our subject. Uh, what was the other question you asked me about?
Yeah. Like you've taken examples from Upanishads and other, not just Gita, other Hindu scriptures to
Mm,
explain, to better explain your point. So how you went about that, researching into Upanishads and other texts apart from
mhm,
Gita?
mhm. So the Upanishads and the Gita are actually the same. We don't
Okay.
realize this,
Yeah, you
but
write this in the mention it
but
in the
they're the
book also.
same.
Yeah.
Why? Because the Upanishads are the basis of the wisdom of the Veda. The entire the wisdom part of it, not the ritual part, not the karma
Hmm.
kand, the jnana kand. The
Okay.
jnana kand is the wisdom part of
Hmm.
the philosophy of the Veda. It's also called Vedanta.
Hmm.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing. So so that is what Sri Krishna uses to teach Arjuna.
Hmm.
So the wisdom he gives him is Vedanta.
Yeah.
So what he does brilliantly, Sri Krishna, is he summarizes the entire Vedic philosophy in 700 verses.
Hmm.
So he makes like a summary of it. And so once you study the Bhagavad Gita, you get all the knowledge that there is of Vedanta. So they are one and the same.
Okay.
So when I did that's why when I wrote the book, you said I quoted a lot from the
Yeah.
Upanishads
The
because that
Upanishads.
is the primary source.
Hmm.
And actually, Sri Krishna takes from there verbatim, especially from Katha Upanishad. You
Hmm.
see, he takes things absolutely like he does a cut paste in today's world.
Yeah,
So
he quotes
he
exactly the
he
words written.
he takes
Yeah.
it exactly and
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
says that. So if you're
Yeah.
studying Bhagavad Gita, you're studying Vedanta. So they are the same. And that was
Okay.
my source of
Hmm.
uh, to write the book.
Okay, so yeah, let's now we should dive into the book.
Uh-huh.
Uh, okay, so you've taken almost 12 chapters to describe a lot of concepts. You've talked about karma, you've talked about Atman, how happiness comes from within. There are several chapters, and you've
Yes.
explained all those things in detail. In the first, I guess this was in the first chapter, and while I was reading it, I was able to understand that, but something came in my mind that I want to ask you is that there you mentioned that, well, Krishna mentions that we can change how, like, we can't control the external factors that come in our
Hmm.
life, of course, but we can control what's within us,
Yes.
how we deal with the situations, how we react in those situations. We can change it with the power of our mind, with our consciousness. So while I was reading that, it almost made sense, but something came in my mind that a lot of people go through a lot of things in their life. They struggle, financial struggles, health struggles, mental pressure, a lot of those things. And time changes. Few days pass, months pass, and they somehow get through that. So this was just something that came, is it the values of Gita, the things that we have read, that studied, we apply in those scenarios, that changes the scenario? Or once the time has passed and we think it in hindsight, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
these were the things that helped me,
Mm-hmm.
now I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So is it like apply, like people apply those thoughts in real time and they know that they are doing that, like, okay, I know how to deal with this, or they somehow get through that, and in hindsight they come and think that, okay, these were the things that helped me to get through that? What do you
So
think
it
of that?
it has to be in real time. See, when
Okay.
you have a
Hmm.
problem, you can't at that point think, okay, now what did I learn in the Bhagavad Gita? Let me
Hmm.
apply that. That doesn't work. It has to come
Yeah.
instinctively. Only then it's useful. So
Almost
what?
second nature.
Yes, it has to
Yeah.
become part of your nature. So
Hmm.
when something is part of your nature, you will respond accordingly. You
Hmm.
don't have to think about it. So they say, like, if you learn to drive a car and you are a very good driver, you just do it instinctively. You're not thinking, now I'm putting it in first gear, now I'm putting. When you're learning, you do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's the same. Once you get these tools,
Hmm.
then you just use them automatically. It becomes you. So,
Hmm.
the process of learning in Vedanta is threefold. It's Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasan. So,
Hmm.
Shravanam is first you listen. So, you
Listen. Yeah.
absorb all this teaching.
Hmm.
Then, Mananam is you're thinking about it. You contemplate. You work it out in your mind and you say, okay, fine. This is what I've heard. You have questions.
Hmm.
It's natural to have questions. You have doubts.
Yeah.
So then you get those doubts resolved. Once
Hmm.
that is resolved, once you've done your mananam well enough,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
third step is nididhyasan, where it becomes you. You absorb it to the point where it is that learning becomes your practice. You don't have to think about it. It becomes so much part of you. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the idea is that by Sri Krishna gives you a very good method of doing this, because you can say,
Hmm.
now how do I do this? What
Hmm.
is the step?
Exactly.
He gives you the step of karma yoga.
Yeah.
He says, why he gives you the step of karma yoga? Because anybody can do it.
Hmm.
You don't have to become a sannyasi. You don't have to
Hmm.
become a bhakt if you don't want to be. You don't have to be a jnani. You can just do your day job, whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
Only difference is the way you do it. So what he
Hmm.
says is, you do whatever you're doing, but do it with an attitude of worship. So what is a
Hmm.
worshipful attitude? An attitude of devotion, where you're not being selfish in what you're doing. So to give you an example, if you're working on an office project, you do that project well just because you want to do it well. You're not doing that project well because you're thinking, oh, if I do this well, then my boss will give me a promotion. See,
Hmm.
that is not karma yoga. You will get the promotion probably. If you do it well, you'll probably get the promotion. But
Hmm.
that's not your incentive to do the job. Your incentive
Hmm.
to do the job is to do it well. So what you're doing is, when you're working, you're taking the selfishness out of it. you're doing something with devotion, with to put your best, to put your best effort. Now, when you do that, everything changes. It's a practice. It doesn't happen in one day. It's not like one day I'm going to have this attitude and the next day it's gone. Day after day after day after day, if
Yeah.
you get into this practice, it will change the reset. It resets your mind. So
Correct.
you have to, like computers, sometimes the best
Yeah.
thing to do is to restart the whole thing.
Restart the computer. Yeah.
And then it resets, the problem goes.
Yeah.
So that we have to reset our
Hmm.
minds. And to reset our minds, Karma
Hmm.
Yoga is a wonderful technique. It's a very simple technique which requires very little effort actually. Just
Okay.
just change that way you think.
Uh, like Karma Yoga is one of the most core principles of Gita.
Yes,
Like he talks a lot, Krishna talks a lot about how you are not supposed to worry about the outcome. Like
yes,
it's not your job. It's not why you do that. Your only job is to keep working. Okay, that's
yes.
what he talks about, and it's one of the very core concepts. Uh, if I like move on from that, like another core concept of Gita or Vedanta, or let's just say this, the one of the core ideas of the Hindu philosophy is about Atman,
Hmm.
the supreme consciousness, Brahman. You
Yes,
explain in very much detail in the book.
yes.
I was reading that it's very fascinating. So there's one line in Gita chapter 9, verse 4, which is very confusing. I'll just read it. Not the Sanskrit part. I'll read the English part.
Yeah,
The translation.
yeah.
It's that all beings are in me, but I am
I'm
not
not.
in all beings.
Yes.
So once I read that, it was I immediately marked that I need to ask you this. That
Yeah.
it was reading, like first read, it's very confusing, like what does this mean actually,
Yes. Yes.
because if everything belongs to Brahman, if that's what the Gita says, if everything belongs to that supreme consciousness, so this line is very confusing. What do you have to say about that?
So, for to explain this, I'll have to
Yeah.
explain first of all what is the concept of Brahman. You see,
Perfect.
in
Yeah.
in religion, usually when you
Hmm.
use the word God,
Hmm.
immediately the picture comes of some deity, some
Hmm.
form, you know, of God. But in
Exactly.
Vedanta, uh, God is not really applicable
Hmm.
for that because it's not a deity. What is considered the supreme reality is the power of existence itself,
Hmm.
the consciousness of the universe, which is just pure awareness. It's so difficult to describe. It's the isness
Yeah.
of the universe. So
Hmm.
it's the power by which there is all this existence around us. That is Brahman.
Hmm.
So it is genderless, formless, attributeless, nirgun, nirakar.
Nirgun
Nirgun
Nirakar.
because it has no
Hmm.
qualities.
Hmm.
Nirakar because it's everywhere. It's not with any form. It's
Hmm.
not
Hmm. Hmm.
in any location. So
Hmm.
this is a very important concept, and why it makes separates why they say Hinduism is not a religion. This is where it comes from. Why
Hmm.
it's not a religion? Because in a religion you have a particular deity to worship, whereas in
Yeah.
Vedanta there's no particular deity to worship. You can worship any deity or none. If you don't want to worship any
Hmm.
form, that's perfectly fine. So actually, even if you're an atheist, it still applies.
Yeah.
You see, that is the beauty of it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
in Vedanta, it says everything that comes from that Brahman is actually that Brahman manifested in a form. So it's different from saying that God made the universe. Because when you
Hmm.
say God made the universe, then God is separate, universe is separate. But I'm talking from the point of Advaita Vedanta. See,
Hmm. Hmm.
where the universe comes from that power. So the example given to explain it in the Upanishads is of a
Hmm.
spider and a web. So
Hmm.
a spider spins its web from its own body,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that so the body the web is actually the spider. There's no difference between the web and the spider actually. And now this
Hmm.
example is not perfect because you cannot
Hmm.
have a perfect example to explain Brahman. So
Yeah.
let's just take this example just to show that aspect, that all of us are actually Brahman.
Hmm.
You are Brahman, the tree is Brahman, the sun is Brahman, the cow is Brahman, the dog is Brahman, everyone is Brahman. The difference is the form.
Hmm.
So, science explains this. Science says E is
Okay.
equal to mc square. That is
Hmm.
science, right? Energy,
Yeah.
all matter is actually originally energy. Science
Yeah.
says that. That's exactly what Vedanta is telling you in a different way. That all matter, what we call Prakriti,
Hmm.
actually comes from that Brahman. So this is all Maya. If you say Brahman, then it's what we see is Maya,
Hmm.
but it's actually that Brahman in a form.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is unmanifest.
Hmm.
This is all manifest. So this is a very important thing to understand. So if we
Hmm.
believe that, coming back to that question on that line,
Yeah.
I am in everything, everything is in me.
Hmm.
The reason is because if you look at it, if that we are all actually that Brahman,
Hmm.
right? Then
Hmm.
then there is no, we are all that.
Hmm.
I am in. He says I. When he says I, he means he's talking about himself as Brahman.
Okay.
So he's
Hmm.
not talking about himself as Krishna Vasudeva, son of
Hmm.
Vasudeva. He's not talking about that. He's
Hmm.
talking about himself as
He's talking about that conscious,
at
that
that power,
supreme
as a
being.
spokesperson
Yeah.
for that power.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so he's saying that if all these are me,
Hmm.
right? There is no difference. Actually, is what he's saying, that we are one. Now, this is a very difficult concept to understand for us.
Hmm.
And the reason why it's difficult is because we think of ourselves as mind and body.
Hmm.
So if you think of yourself as mind and body, then if I think of I'm Priya Arora, I'm this in this form,
Hmm.
then I'm relating to myself at only the level of Maya.
Hmm.
I'm not
Okay.
relating. Now, if I think of myself, yes, in this life, I have this form. This
Hmm.
is like my garment that I'm wearing. But my actual identity is Brahman. So
Hmm.
I have a spirit identity, which is my higher identity.
Yeah.
So all of Vedanta is trying to tell us to associate more with ourselves as a spirit than as
Hmm.
the body. So, and there's a reason for this, because if you associate with yourself as the spirit, your
Hmm.
actions will automatically be better. They will become sattvic. The
Hmm.
more you associate with the body, the more your actions will be rajasic and tamasic. You
These are
see why?
the three gunas
Because,
which Krishna
yes,
talks about.
yes,
That
because see,
yeah.
rajas and tamas are associated with, they help you in this body. They help
Hmm.
you achieve what you want. What is rajas? Rajas is fire and passion. And I'm not saying you
Hmm.
should not have rajas and tamas.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everybody has to have all three. If you
Hmm.
don't have tamas, you won't sleep. You'll be awake all the time. Because tamas is sleep is tamas. So
Okay.
there are many things
Yeah.
that tamas is needed, but in small quantities. And rajas is also needed. Rajas is what makes you act. It is it's,
What makes you
it makes you do
drive
what you,
for
yes. So
certain
you need
things?
that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Of
it
course.
should always be driven by sattva.
Hmm.
The sattva should be the highest.
Yeah.
And when sattva drives rajas and tamas, then your behavior is noble.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you do the wrong thing. So this was the difference between Ram and Ravan, actually.
Hmm.
So you
Okay.
see, Ravan, he had a lot of good qualities,
Hmm.
right? Ram also had the same good quality. They were both powerful. They were both great warriors. But what was the difference? The difference was Ram was satvically driven and Ravan was rajasically driven.
Hmm.
So he was not driven by sattva. And that's why he was the cause of his downfall. Because with rajas comes things like greed, lust, all those
Hmm.
are the result of
Yeah.
desire.
Because
Desire comes from
yeah,
rajas.
a lot of people talk about Ravan, there's uh, and this is a fact that he was a great Lord Shiva worshipper.
Hmm?
He was very knowledgeable. like what they say, Prakand Pandit, as they say.
He was. He
He
was a
was he
Veda
was very
Pandit.
he was yeah, but certain things that he did was the reason for that downfall. And this very much explains. Yeah, I something came in mind. I'll ask it later. With that relates to another concept. We'll come to that.
Yeah,
So yeah, this very beautifully explains the three gunas that talks
yeah,
Krishna mentions. Yeah. So yeah, like now can yeah, that line which Krishna says that Brahman, I or Brahman, I am in all beings, but not all belongs to me. If
yeah.
that is the
He
real
says, so I am
translation.
in all beings.
Hmm.
That now you got, because we
Yeah.
have all come from, we are all
Yeah. Exactly.
Brahman manifest. So that part is
Hmm.
easy.
That's
But how
clear.
is
Yeah.
he saying that all beings are not in me? What
Hmm.
he's saying is that they're not in me, they are me. They're not in
Okay.
me, they are
Hmm.
me. Right? There is no difference between between Prakriti and Purusha. You see, Prakriti and Purusha
Yeah.
are the same, is what he's saying.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
He's
Hmm.
saying
Hmm.
if you say Purusha is Brahman,
Hmm.
that Purusha concept, and Prakriti is everything manifest, they are actually not different. So
Hmm.
they're not in me, they are me.
Got it.
It's
Okay.
you get it. It's not like
He's talking like he's not making a distinction between,
he's not making a distinction.
yeah, between
He,
himself as
yes,
Brahman, as the great divine, and
yes,
the other
he's,
humans or nature,
yes,
or
he's saying we are
let's
the
just say
same.
there's no distinction. Okay.
Exactly. So
So when there's no
Vedanta,
distinction,
yes,
then they both are same. Okay.
they are both the same. Not dual. They are the same. See,
Non-dual
people
Advait.
interpret
Yeah.
Advait. That is the meaning of
Yeah,
Advait,
exactly.
not two. And see, that's the path I follow. Now,
Hmm.
I just wanted to tell you there are other paths. There's Dvait
Hmm.
also. There are
Okay.
those who argue very fiercely for the other side, saying, no, 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 we are part, we are not
Hmm.
whole. But
Hmm.
these are two different philosophies. And I follow Advaita, so I will always
Hmm.
speak
Yeah.
from that point of view.
That's the freedom our religion gives us.
Oh yes,
Like
tremendous
there
freedom
is,
and no
yeah,
fighting. Huh? You know
no
there is
fighting.
fighting. You can fight, you can argue, but no saying that anybody else is wrong. You have the right to believe what you believe. I have the right to believe what I have the right to worship whom I want to worship. You have the right to worship whom you want, and because we believe that all of them lead to the same Brahman. So
Yeah.
whoever, whatever your Ishta Devata is,
Yeah.
doesn't matter because that Ishta Devata is a representation of the same Brahman.
Hmm.
So whether you worship Sri Ram or Sri Krishna or Shiva, Vishnu, Ma Durga, it does not matter. They all the prayers are going to the same source, same Brahman in the end. So
Yeah,
that's
that's a
how it is.
beautiful, like this really like uh makes me feel like makes me feel very good, this ability to that this religion gives me, this freedom this gives me, like to still disagree and
Yes,
still be friends with, like to still be
yes,
okay with the person, if even if not friends, but still be okay with the person or the thought that okay, you might be right, I might be wrong, or maybe it can be vice
yeah,
versa, but
yeah.
it's okay, we can disagree. Yeah, that's this
It's
is
a very personal
something.
part.
Yeah, it's a
Actually,
personal part, exactly.
we are not Hinduism is not a group.
Hmm.
It's not based on on group belief. Actually, it's not based on belief at all.
Hmm.
It's based on being a seeker. So each
Hmm.
one of us, we are
Hmm.
seekers. We are making a personal spiritual journey. We are
Hmm.
not followers. So there's
Hmm.
nobody to tell you do this, do that, go to the mandir, don't go to the mandir. You want
Hmm.
to go, go. Don't want to go, don't go.
Hmm.
You want to pray to Sri Krishna, pray. You want to pray to Sri Rama, you pray. Who
Hmm.
you? If you don't want to pray, that's also okay.
That's
You're not.
also okay.
You're not. But what it does tell you is be a good person.
Hmm.
That's all.
Yeah,
Whoever you pray to
exactly.
doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Just your behavior is what is important.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's why the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, they all focus on your behavior.
Hmm.
They don't, none of them tell you how to pray or who to pray to. That's not
Hmm.
important. What's important is how are you conducting your life? What kind of behavior do you have? The best worship is your behavior. That is your highest worship. There's no point in going to a mandir and doing all that puja and coming out and then having bad behavior.
Yeah.
There's no use. It's better actually not to go then. Because then it's what they call mithyachara. It's hypocrisy.
It's
You go,
hypocrisy. Yeah.
no,
Hypocrisy is the right word. Yeah.
yeah, because your behavior should be your worship in every action, thought, word, and deed. So you have to be very careful even of your thoughts. In our Vedanta, that's what is taught because all our actions stem from our thoughts. What you think about all the time is what will drive your actions. Inevitably, if that's the
Yeah.
case.
This is going perfect. Okay, I'm really enjoying this conversation. Uh, I'll take you a step back. There's something that you mentioned, and I've also have a question relating to that. So it says that Prakriti and Purush, like Purush
Mhm.
as in the human being, and Prakriti, the nature.
No, no,
These are not
Purush is
different.
not human being.
Okay.
Purush
Uh,
is Brahman. Think of Purusha as that
okay.
power.
Okay.
Prakriti is manifestation.
Okay.
So in Vedanta, Purusha is not actually in our shastras, not just Vedanta. In the shastras, Purusha means that power.
That power. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll frame it differently. What
Ah.
I was going to ask. Okay, so it says that nature, as in the
Yeah.
plants, animals, all of
Yeah.
those things
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
exist here, and human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, uh, on the spiritual supreme level, they're the same. As in
Hmm.
the Brahman exists in both of them. There's no
Yes.
distinction. And when I was reading that, this question came to my mind that our religion, the Sanatan practice, this is one of the reason that it differentiate it's between other religions, as
Yeah.
in because it does not give you the right to that not does not give you the authority over
Yes.
nature, as in it's not for just your consumption.
Yes.
This is what
Yes.
the scriptures say, which
Yes.
is not the same as other religions. I'm not going into
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
religion,
Yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
just saying that there's no distinction.
Yes.
And it says that you both are meant to be in harmony with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and not just use सिर्फ भोग वासना के लिए नहीं है वो तुम्हारे लिए, if I can just explain it
Exactly.
in Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so uh, talk about this, like talk about more of how this comes from and what basis and what importance does this thought have
Mm-hmm.
when one reads Gita about
So
this
in
distinction between.
with
Yeah.
humans and animals. So
Yeah.
actually, humans and animals, they say are much the same. I'll tell you why. Because aharam, which is food, both need food, both depend on food. Animals and humans. Nidra, sleep,
Need.
common to humans and animals. Maitunam, reproduction, common to
Yeah.
animals and humans. So what is the difference between an animal and a human? Animals are also Brahman, we are also Brahman. The difference is we can know that we are Brahman, they don't know. So it's our intellect. It
That
is
level of consciousness,
that
that level of,
level of intellect
yeah, thought. Yeah.
differentiates us from animals. Now, since we have that intellect that differentiates us, we have to act based on reason and thinking and not based on instinct. Animals act on instinct. If a tiger sees a injured deer, the tiger will go straight and attack that deer. Why? Because it's not filtering it through any higher process. It's hungry, deer is
It's
injured,
food.
it's food.
Yeah.
That's all. But as human beings, if we see that, we should be applying a higher filter, right? We say, okay, it's
Yeah.
injured, let me take it, let me protect it, let me take it to the vet. These thoughts come to our mind. This is our human aspect. That is what differentiates us from an animal. So if in life we descend to just acting on instinct, then we are acting at an animal level. We're not acting at a human level. because a human level means we have to think. So now this comes in. One of the things is, um, as human beings, because we have that intellect, we have a certain responsibility. That
Hmm.
intellect gives us power, and with great power
Hmm.
comes great responsibility,
Responsibility. Yeah.
right? There's an equal
Hmm.
pressure
Hmm.
on responsibility for that.
Yeah.
So we say that we should not um, destroy the environment just because we have
Hmm.
the power to do so. So we should not kill animals randomly, which is why in India we have vegetarianism.
Hmm.
You see, the reason why we are vegetarianism is there as part. See, the Shastras don't tell you to be vegetarian, but I can
Okay.
guarantee you, once
Hmm.
you read the Shastras and study them, you become vegetarian, as happened with me.
Okay.
you know, I was never vegetarian, but
Hmm.
with so much study, I one day I just could not eat it anymore because that's what the Shastras do. Because you keep thinking of the unity of life, and you
Hmm.
keep thinking that if you can live without causing harm, then why should you cause harm? See, that thought, that rational thought comes in because instinctively we want to eat, and we want to eat tasty food. That's
Hmm.
instinctive for us. But
Hmm.
what the Shastras say, and which makes a lot of sense, is it should be based on need, not on greed. So if you're
Hmm.
living in the Arctic where there's
Hmm.
no agriculture, what are you going to eat there? You have to eat fish and
Non-veg food.
blubber, and
Yeah.
there's nothing growing there. And
Hmm.
that's not hinsa. See, because it's
Hmm.
need. If you are
Hmm.
living in a forest,
Hmm.
you have no choice. You have to, there's no agriculture there. I'm saying tribals and people,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
fine, it's need. And then they're not killing en masse. They're only killing, for one maybe animal, eating it. But they're not like, destroying the whole herd.
Hmm. 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 Yeah.
Now, if you're living in by the Ganga, where there's so much available, other
Vegetation
food,
happening. Hmm.
then if we are eating meat, then we are doing it only for our greed.
Hmm.
You see, we're not doing it for need. So, and still the Shastras don't tell you to be vegetarian, but it puts it in your head that are you acting with the best interest at heart,
Hmm.
with the least amount of violence.
Hmm.
So we can never be non-violent. Huh? Non-violence is not possible, but you can minimize violence. So you can keep your footprint small. The
Hmm.
moment you're born on Earth, you've created a footprint. You can't prevent that.
Yeah.
You have to eat something. Even
Hmm.
plants
Of
have
course.
life, right?
Hmm.
So if we are killing a plant, we are also doing damage, but
Hmm.
you are minimizing the damage. So the lower life forms, it's a lower life form,
Hmm.
the plant, to say a fish. And a fish would be less than say maybe a chicken or a, and a mammal is the most sentient.
Hmm.
So if you think of it that way, you can only minimize. You
Yeah.
can't eliminate. So that's how vegetarianism is so prevalent in India
Hmm.
because it comes from this concept of keeping your footprint small.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, because when I was reading, like I was also interested in this whole veg and non-veg conversation. Like, and often people say that the scriptures don't allow you to eat meat or eat non-veg food. So I was trying to find some verses or some text books that talk about this, and as much as I could read up until now, I was not able to find like a clear verdict as is as in
Mhm.
like you must not eat non-veg food. It's
Right.
like uh, refraining from eating non-veg is maybe a higher virtue.
Yeah.
This is what they talk about, like you
They,
should try to
yeah.
refrain, but
Yes.
if you could not, that's also
That's
okay.
right. So there's no,
Yeah.
like strict rule that
Mm-hmm.
don't eat. There's no commandment,
Hmm.
but everywhere it says try not to do
Try
harm
not to.
if you
Hmm.
can avoid. In the Mahabharata, when Bhishma Pitama is lying on the bed of arrows, he
Hmm.
asks Yudhishthir asks him,
Hmm.
"What is the highest dharma?"
Hmm.
And he says it is ahimsa.
Yeah.
He says ahimsa meaning not non-violence,
Hmm.
keeping violence down,
Hmm.
minimizing violence. nowadays we call ahimsa non-violence. Actually, it's not non-violence. It's
Yeah,
minimizing
this was
violence.
basically my next question that I was going to ask you. That with this conversation about food comes the thought of ahimsa and
Yeah.
how what does Hindu scriptures say about ahimsa. So yeah, please you can continue.
So, ahimsa, in English, see, this is where English translations are problematic. Ahimsa is translated as non-violence because hinsa is violence. So, immediately when you have that
It come
negation,
yeah.
it's translated as non-violence. But it's not non-violence because if you look at it, in all our Devi Devtas, they are all holding weapons. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
why are they holding weapons if we are saying that it's non-violence? Non-violence means pacifism, absolutely zero. No. So ahimsa means reduce the violence, only resort to violence when absolutely necessary. And that too to protect dharma, not for any random reason, not for your personal, selfishness, but for dharma, for protection. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that, no? He says, I am born
Yeah.
again and again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this also clears that confusion. Like because one can obviously think like this that if ahimsa is non-violence and
Hmm.
this is what Krishna preaches in the Gita,
Hmm.
so
And then
how
there's a
can he
battle.
let the
Yes,
greatest battle that ever existed?
yes,
How can he be okay with that?
yes.
But when you think it like this, a
It,
lot of previous
yes.
stories come to your mind that he did try to
Oh,
stop
yeah.
a lot of
He tried everything to
violence.
stop it.
Yeah.
He went to Duryodhana and he tried everything. He first tried Sama. He said, "Listen, they are your brothers. Give them back their kingdom. Why are you fighting?"
Yeah.
Duryodhana said, "No, I'm not going to do it." Then he says, "Okay, you keep the whole kingdom. Give them 5 villages,
Five villages.
one for each of them." And what is Duryodhana saying? "I'm not going to give even the land that rests on the tip of the needle. Not even that land." So then that was gone. Then he says, then he tried to tell Karna because
He tried to convince Karna.
tell
Yeah.
Karna not to fight. Because if Karna didn't fight, then Duryodhana would not have fought. The war would not have happened. So he tries to prevent Karna from fighting. He tells him, "You're Kunti Putra. You're not a Sud Putra, you're a Kunti Putra. So don't fight." He says, "No, I'm going to fight." Then what is the choice? Then you have to go to
The
war.
last resort. Yeah.
So it is only as a last resort. And that too to protect dharma. Because if you don't punish the wrongdoing, then you are promoting it. By not punishing wrongdoing, you are promoting that wrongdoing, right? Without realizing it, you're promoting it. Supposing there's a terrorist on the rampage, and you say, "My ahimsa says I won't kill him," then
Yeah.
you're
That's just
promoting him
impractical. Yeah,
because
of
he's
course.
going to kill so many people. He's going
Yeah.
to continue doing it. So that is then becomes your ahimsa is actually causing hinsa.
That's right. Yeah.
So we have to be careful. And our shastras are very practical, huh? They don't
Yeah.
tell you do this, do that. They tell you to act based on the situation. That's a very important thing of dharma. It's not based on right and wrong. It's based on what is right and wrong in that situation, context based. So when Sri Krishna tells Arjun to fight, he's telling him in the context of the battle because he's a soldier.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he's not a Brahmin sitting over there and tell.
Yeah.
It's different. He's
Yeah.
he's a soldier. It is his duty to fight. Even today, you will say that, right?
Yeah, of course.
If our soldiers go
Like
to the front line, can they
yeah.
say no, no, I'm going back home. I'm not fighting. I just want to leave the battle. That's
Yeah,
not.
this so beautifully draws the parallels between like if like the same thing happened. Okay, that time Arjuna was in dilemma and Krishna says that's not your job.
Hmm.
The job is to fight, doesn't
Yeah,
matter
because
the
he's a
outcome, the
Kshatriya.
consequences. Yeah, because he's a warrior, a kshatriya. So today also that, as you said, that if a soldier says that okay, I'm not going to fight, the natural reaction will be what are you
He'll
talking
be
about?
court-martialed actually.
Yeah. Of course, of course he will
You're
be.
not, you can't do
Hmm.
that today.
Yeah, yeah, of
You're
course
sent
not,
to the
because
battlefront, you have to fight.
your job is to stand there and fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you see,
the
it's context based.
context based. Yeah.
So we must see that because people say this. Oh,
Hmm.
Arjuna wanted to not fight and Krishna forced him to fight. This is
Hmm.
a misunderstanding of the situation.
Yeah, he just cleared his anxiety that he was
That's what he
going
did. He
through.
cleared his anxiety. And
Yeah.
it's so beautiful because not
Hmm.
once does he tell him what to do. He
Yeah.
just gives him what is called Atman, which is
Hmm.
knowledge of himself.
Hmm.
Once he goes through that, at the end, he himself picks up the bow. Because Sri
Hmm.
Krishna says, I've
Hmm.
taught you everything, now you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you what to do.
You've picked up on some really, really something important, because see, a lot of these I wanted to ask as a question, but that's fine that you are still answering. That I wanted, like, a lot of times when I talk about, uh, we have some conversations with mostly our elders, that you should not question all these things. Okay, you
Hmm.
should not question God, you should not question the scriptures. One of the response that I always give is that, uh okay, let's just imagine God himself comes on the ground, Krishna, the supreme consciousness, he tells Arjun that this is what you have to do.
Hmm.
Okay, so by nature, if God himself is telling you what to do,
Then
you
you
should
do.
not question that,
Yeah.
then you'll do it. But in the end, when everything, then he teaches everything, he says that, okay, Arjuna, I have now given you the supreme, the the
The
main
highest knowledge.
Brahma Gyan, the highest
Yeah.
knowledge. I've given you the highest knowledge. You've seen the Vishwa Swarup, like the Vishnu. You have seen with your own eyes. You're crying here and sitting. And now decide what you want to do.
Yeah. It's your
He gives
decision, he
him,
says.
yeah, it's your
And,
decision.
yeah.
He
And
can
what
easily say
Arjun
that,
says,
okay, yeah, he can easily say that, Arjun, doesn't matter what you're thinking.
yeah,
Just go. I'm saying it. Do it. But he gives the option. He gives the choice in the end. Like,
exactly.
you can still choose not to fight.
Yeah.
It's your call. But after knowing all this, now decide. And then, yeah, you were saying,
And that is Sanatana Dharma.
yeah,
Sanatana
exactly.
Dharma is not something you follow or believe. It's something that just is. You practice it,
Yeah.
and it's very much based on questioning. Every single Shastra is based on a question and answer. Every Upanishad is a question and answer. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun pushes back so many times. When
Yeah, he does.
Krishna says, you have to control your mind, you know, he says, but the mind is very difficult to control. He says, how can I control my mind? He asks him, he doesn't say, yes, yes, I must control my mind. He asks him, he says, it's not easy to control. He says, it's more difficult to control the mind than the wind. The wind is easier to control.
Yeah.
So then Sri Krishna tells him, yes, you're right. It is difficult, but it's not impossible. You
Yeah.
can do it with abhyas and vairagya by cultivating these two. So then he shows him how to do it. But the point is, questions are very important. And there's no wrong question in our Shastras. We don't have the concept of blasphemy and heresy and all that. No,
Yeah, exactly.
you can ask anything you like,
Yeah.
even about Sri Ram, anything you can ask, and
Yeah, of
there's
course.
nothing wrong with it. If you have a question, you must ask. Otherwise, how will you grow? It's only when you
Exactly.
ask questions that your doubts are resolved. Otherwise, you're just believing something, which is no use. It doesn't help you grow.
Then that goes into blind faith, and like,
Yes,
you're just believing because it's written.
yes.
You're just believing because
You
someone
don't
says
know
it you
why.
to say. Yeah, you don't know the why of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. And once you see, when you do something based on blind faith, that can be broken easily also. You know, because it's not based on inner belief. But once you do the Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasan, it becomes you. It can never be shaken. For
Yeah.
thousands of years, there's one good reason why. You see, how old is our Sanatana Dharma?
There's
Thousands of years.
I don't. Yeah,
Thousands
I
of
don't
years.
think there's a, yeah,
We
thousands of
don't even
years.
know
We
how
can't.
old.
No, 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 no. Yeah.
But it's the only continuous living uh,
Yes.
belief.
Yeah.
See, look at any other civilization, they've all gone. We are still continuing. Why? It's because of this belief. It's not based on belief, it's based on personal experience. That's so firm. And actually nowadays we are losing it. This this
Yes,
belief, this
I
personal
believe so.
faith,
Yeah,
we're losing
yeah.
it. But all these centuries, it's been there.
Why do you think that? Like, why do you think this? Like, people are losing it. That belief.
The thing
What
is,
can be like reasons for that?
the reason is, I'll tell you, it happened actually from 1835 onwards. What
Yeah,
happened in 1835 was
the British
the
education system, and yeah,
Indian Education Act came.
yeah.
That
Hmm.
Indian Education Act removed Sanskrit,
Hmm.
removed the Gurukuls.
Hmm.
So what happened is we got cut off from our all this knowledge.
The roots.
See what I'm talking about now. Our ancestors knew.
Yeah.
They didn't need anybody to write a book. They already knew this.
Yeah.
Today we don't know it. I didn't know it till in my 50s. Then I started,
Yeah, same with me. Like I got into this reading of all these books post, I guess, 19 or 20 years of age, like
yeah,
that time when COVID
right.
hit, we had a lot of time.
Well,
That's
you
when my
started young.
this yeah, yeah, that's when I started all of those things. But that's still relatively young for a lot of
Yes,
people. Like
very young. And
yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
I'm so happy to see this.
Yeah, I like it. I like reading about all those
Yes,
things. Like mostly I'm a lot more interested in history, reading about history. That's
right.
my like my uh, not bread and butter, because I'm not a history student or a historian. I won't
Your
say that,
passion.
but I love reading. Yeah, passionate about history. Since school, I was very much passionate about
Uh-huh.
I read a lot. So this somehow comes in that fold only. Reading about
Right.
Gita, because it is a history. I don't go into that nonsense of its mythology and all of that. I
Yeah.
don't care about that.
No,
I believe it to be
Ramayana and
history.
Mahabharata are itihas.
Yeah, exactly. I
Ramayana and
believe that.
Mahabharata.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
are other Puranic stories, maybe mythology,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Same.
but
I was mentioning about
Ramayana and
that
Mahabharata
only.
are itihas.
Yes, yes,
And the
exactly.
original
No,
ones, not the other ones. The Ved
the
Vyas Mahabharat and the
and the
Valmiki
Valmiki
Ramayana
Ramayana.
Itihas. The other
Exactly.
ones may be made up because
Maybe
there were
translations and stories gets add
there are
on.
so
People
many
have their own.
Ramayans and Mahabharats. They're all,
Yeah.
you can't take those as Itihas. But
No.
these two are 100%
Yeah.
Itihas.
Perfectly. Okay. Last couple of things.
Yeah,
Almost. This is
sure,
one eye
sure.
in the conversation. A couple of things more. Uh, while reading this, I want to read a few lines from you, if that's okay, because
Of
that
course.
will set the context of. Okay, so it's from the book. I'll mention it again. Life is a battlefield, and from page 80, I'm reading this text. I'll just give me a minute, because reading this will, give the context of what we are going to discuss. This is about Atman, and how uh, you've mentioned how karma, like the cycle of rebirth, and how it gets transferred into the other life, and what are the consequences for that. So there's something I found contradictory. Maybe you can,
Mhm,
obviously you can explain it better. So uh, okay,
mhm,
so you mentioned that Atman
mhm,
is not the doer or the seeker, as in
mhm, mhm,
no action is taken by the Atman. The body takes the action based
mhm,
on Maya, based on whatever thoughts come into mind. The Atman is just it nothing comes on the Atman. It's just formless, shapeless, and everything in that. Okay, so there's that. Okay, the Atman is not the doer or the uh, bearer of the action. Okay,
mhm,
this thing stands. Few pages later, you mentioned that uh, the karma or the deeds of one life gets transferred into
mhm,
another, if still you are not to get taken out from that cycle of karma. Okay, if you're still in that cycle, you take rebirths because you have to
yeah,
finish that quota. Okay,
yeah,
once that gets over, you go in, you graduate, and you go
mhm,
to the supreme consciousness. Okay,
yeah.
so if these two thoughts exist, how does this
Reconcile.
yeah, how does this reconcile? Because it seems very
Contradictory, yeah.
contradictory.
So you see, the reason why the Atman is not a doer is, well, let me explain it with an example.
Yeah.
if you say Atman is like electricity and your body or whatever is like, say, the fan. Now, the electricity is not responsible for the giving you the cool air. The responsibility is only of the electricity is only to power the fan, to give make the fan alive.
Yeah.
The air is coming from the action of the fan. So
Okay. Yeah.
in the same way, the Atman is powering us. It's enlivening us. So when we are not enlivened by the Atman, when you take off the electricity from the fan can't work. You take out Atman from us, the body is jada, what they say is inert. So it cannot
Yes.
function, and that's what happens when you die. Then you're just left with the shell of the body. It's it's unplugged, so to speak,
Yeah.
from its source of power.
Source of power. Yeah.
So that's why they say the Atman doesn't do anything. So the second part of your question was, then why, how does this karma thing happen? So we have a subtle body, so which is consists of our thoughts, our intellect, and our the it's your mana buddhi, the your mind and your intellect. This thing is actually your subtle body. It's not it is in your physical body, but this part doesn't die with death. You
Okay.
see, this is the difference between, see, people in modern science, they say that all the mind is part of the brain. So when the brain stops, then the mind also stops. That's what modern thing. But in Vedanta, this is your subtle body. This is part of your spirit self. So this is what goes from one life to another.
Okay.
So which is why you remember. People who go to another life, sometimes they remember. Not everybody, but children suddenly
Do
remember.
they? I mean, uh, uh, because they say, but how can someone be sure of that? Because, like, okay, someone can say, like, I'm not questioning that thought. Maybe they have, but it's just a more rational way to think that, okay, even if the person is saying that, okay, I remember some glimpses of the past life, how can I be sure of?
Can't be sure. How can you be sure? You cannot prove it like as a science experiment. But it's interesting to know that in the University of Virginia, they have a whole department dedicated to
Okay.
this. And there was Dr. Ian Stevenson who studied this extensively. He took about 2,000 cases worldwide, not only in India, and he found that he could prove that they did remember actual cases, like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds would remember things, and then he was able to cross verify that what they remembered was correct.
Okay.
Now, how could they remember? If How could that be correct? So this is done in a university. This is not done by some sadhu baba sitting on
Hmm.
a tree. This is done
Yeah.
in a university.
Okay.
It's a whole institute. You can look it up. It's the University of Virginia. Dr. Ian Stevenson. If
Dr. Ian
it's very
Stevenson.
interesting. Ian Stevenson, yeah. So now, if you want to be skeptical, you can. Nobody can prove it. Nobody
Yeah.
can prove it,
Of
like
course.
because but there is a lot of evidence for rebirth.
Okay. You mentioned a writer and his book. The book is Evil and the Indian Thought, something like that.
Arthur Herman,
Yeah.
Dr.
So,
Arthur Herman, yeah.
I was reading, like, I was
The
not reading the book,
problem
but
of evil. The problem of
The
evil.
Problem of Evil and the Indian Thought, like
Yes,
that's
yes,
the
yes.
name of the book. So there he mentions a line that the Indian thought, or the Hindu thought of rebirth, actually
Karma and rebirth.
the karma and rebirth, very aptly, or like it is the like not 100%, but most apt way to explain the cycle of evil and why evil exists, if I'm not wrong. This
Right.
is what he explains. Yeah. So That is something. Yeah, I was going to read that book as well to know
It's
what exactly
interesting
what he was.
actually.
Yeah.
He analyzes all the different religions, and the answer to why is there evil in the world. See, if God is
Exactly.
good, if God is good, then why is there
Why
evil?
evil exists? Yeah, this is one of the questions that
This is one everybody
atheists
asks.
most everybody asks. Like, okay, if God is so good, why does he
Why
kill
does
a
a
newborn
newborn
baby?
baby die? Why does
Yeah,
a
yeah.
newborn baby die? Why does a 5-year-old child get cancer? Why does a why do these things happen to good people?
Exactly.
Why do bad people seem to get success? You can't answer these questions other than with the doctrine of karma. See, because if you don't, if you say there's a good God up there, then that God is being very doing
Partial.
partial, giving some people some good things, not giving others. That does not make sense. So, people who ask this question and then the answer they get is, oh, God works in mysterious ways. Now, that does not, to me,
That does
does
not
not,
answer the question.
it doesn't answer the question. But
Yeah.
the doctrine of karma clearly answers it.
Okay. Yeah. That explains. I will read that book also because I find this thought very interesting of
Yes,
how the cycle of karma explains evil, and
it's an interesting
yeah,
book. I read
it's
it
anything.
when
Yeah.
I was writing this book. I read it because I found it so fascinating because he is obviously not an Indian person.
Yes,
And
exactly. And once,
yet he found that
yeah.
after analyzing all the religions, he found this was the best answer,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most logical
Huh.
answer.
One last question about Gita, basically about the mind and emotions, was that a lot of what Krishna says is that we need to have a check on emotions. Like, we can't just make decisions based solely on emotions. Like, our mind needs to work on that. So let's just talk about the balance that we need to have between, because I don't think completely negating emotions is a good thing, or completely negating the logic is a good thing. Like, there should needs to be some sort of a balance. Or do you think there should be a balance, if at all? Like, what do you think, or what does Krishna say in
Well,
about that?
two things. One is we're human beings, so we are emotional.
Yeah.
We are not robots. So things will make you happy, things will make you sad. There'll be times when you'll be overjoyed, there'll times when you'll be miserable. There'll times when you'll be angry. So what Sri Krishna says is not that don't be human. He's saying don't act when you're angry. Don't act when you're in a state of heightened emotion, good or bad. See, if you look at it, Dashrath, Raja Dashrath, what does he do? He gives Kaikai a blank check
Yeah.
when he is very excited. Why? Because she saved his life. So, in that moment of excitement, he wrote her a blank check.
Yeah.
And then look what happened as a result of the blank check. So, you should never do anything when you're in that moment of passion, whatever it is, whether it's anger or happiness. Anger also has the same problem. Actually, more, actually, even worse result. Because when you're angry, you can do and say anything.
Yeah.
An angry person can just
Say
commit
anything.
murder. You don't mean to, but two people are fighting and it becomes violent, and the one person kills the other person, and then later says, oh, why did I do that? It was
Because I
just
was
an
angry.
anger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says that don't act on anger. It says get angry, but learn to rein it in. Don't act on that anger.
Yeah.
That's what the Bhagavad Gita says. So it's
So
not telling you to be, robotic.
yeah. So it can be said that if a person is majorly in a sense of all logic, so making decisions in based on that can be a better option, as compared to making just emotions, the decisions based on emotions. Or, like, there should be a balance in, like, okay, if you make a decision, there should be balance between logic and emotion. Then you'd need to take a decision, or okay, 100% it should be logic, or not that.
Not either logic or emotion should be. See, when you say emotion, if you're talking about compassion, Like if you take a decision with for compassionate reasons, that's an emotion, but that's a good emotion. You're not doing it based on your own heightened state of uh, a selfish emotion. So
Yeah.
there's a difference in emotions. So not that we should not be emotional, but we should be very careful when we act. That's what it says. It says don't just act, don't just act instinctively.
Yeah, don't just act, think
Think,
before.
think
Yeah.
before you do something. So it's not that you should not have emotions. It's not that you shouldn't act with love, and love is also an emotion.
Yeah.
That's fine, but not to do things instinctively. Try and when there's a situation, try and respond to it rather than react to it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference between when you respond
Respond
thoughtfully
and
and when you just react.
fair, 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 fair. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's all I had. I guess we have it's our time. Thank you so much, ma'am, for firstly agreeing to the podcast.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations for the book. It's a good read. I'm hoping to read your first book as well, and we can have a conversation based on that as well someday. For our viewers, the links to these both the books will be in the description, so you can check those out on Amazon and do read these books. It's a fascinating read. It's an interesting read. So again, thank you so much, ma'am. I hope you had a
Thank
good
you for
time.
inviting me.
I hope you had a good conversation. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.